Hello, it's Jim Hutchens for the Jerusalem Connection Truth Report for this week. We're continuing in the book of Romans 9 through 11. This is God's definitive statement with regard to the Jews, with regard to the Israel in the New Testament, Romans 9 through 11. And we're doing this to counter the myth, and I say it's a blasphemous myth, of Palestinian replacement theology. The Palestinians argue, and those evangelicals that favor them argue, that because the Palestinians have been in the land for so long, actually no longer than any Jews, but because they've been in there so long, that takes precedent, that supersedes, that trumps, as one author says, that trumps the covenant promises of God. So we want to go through this verse by verse and hear what God actually says. Romans 9, he talks about their chosenness. Theirs is the adoption as sons. There's the divine glory, the covenants, the receiving of the law, the temple worship, their promises. Theirs are the patriarchs, and from them is traced the human ancestry of Christ, Messiah, who is God over all, forever praised. So they have been chosen, but they have been disobedient. They've been kicked out of the land. Now they have been brought back to the land in unbelief, by and large. But we come to a very sober, very solemn passage in the chapter, Romans chapter 9, verse 27. It says, Isaiah cries out concerning Israel. Will the number of the Israelites be like the sand by the sea? Only the remnant will be saved. Only the remnant will be saved. For the Lord will carry out his sentence on earth with speed and finality. It is just as Isaiah said previously, unless the Lord Almighty, Yahweh Almighty, had left us descendants, we would have become like Sodom, we would have become like Gomorrah, totally destroyed. Well, the scriptures indicate that's not going to happen. But what does this tell us? Does this tell us how many will consist of the remnant? It doesn't tell us that, but Amos tells us this. Amos says in his prophecy, Amos chapter 3, verse 12, this is what Yahweh says. As a shepherd saves from the lion's mouth 2 leg bones and a piece of an ear, so will Israel be saved. 2 leg bones and a piece of an ear. That's a remnant of a full-grown, fully developed sheep. That's not much. That's not, it would hardly identify it as a sheep. In the New Testament, the book of Revelation speaks of 144,000 that are 12,000 from each of the tribes of Israel. Revelation chapter 7, chapter 14. It's estimated that there are some 14 million Jews in the world today. 144,000 of them would be 1%. That's not many. So this is very sobering passage that we're looking at. And we need to pray that God in his grace would enlarge the remnant, bring them to faith in their Messiah, Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah. But as it stands right now, the last word on this is Isaiah's prophecy. And he says, though the number of the Israelites be like the sand by the sea, only a remnant will be saved. And that's the truth. Till next week, Shalom Aleichem.